Hey, welcome back to Soul Food, and this episode is brought to you by friends and family at Soul. And hi, babe.
Hi, hello everyone. We're back.
We are back again with another spicy and juicy. I need to change my
Interesting.
vocabulary. I keep using the word spicy. Another
Interesting topic. It's very interesting. No, you want a better word.
I want a better word. I want like a stronger word. What is a better word for this topic for today? I don't know. Oh my gosh. But we want to leave you encouraged
Yeah.
after this episode, because this episode is titled Worst Dating Advice.
Yep.
Now, if you have experienced, if you have heard a really bad dating advice, drop it in our comment section. We want to hear it from you as well. Babe, what is the worst dating advice you got?
Oh man. I can't recall, but I can recall this worst dating advice a friend of mine gave another friend of mine.
Okay.
So in this context, a friend of mine is a divorcee.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went through a hard patch, and then it affected all other areas of her life, like her parenting,
Right.
and then her relationship with parents, and her relationship with her friends. And this other friend of mine actually told her, "Hey, why don't you just join? Register yourself in a dating app."
Okay.
And nothing wrong with dating apps,
Yep, yep,
right?
yep.
And then she was like, "Why don't you set up to international? International. I don't know. You open it to international. I never used a dating app before,
Okay.
but she was like." Then at least you meet someone, like from outside of the country, and at least there's someone who say good morning to you, and I think it will make your day. I think it will make a difference in your life. It will not make you focus too much on your problem.
A guy who is not from the locality.
Yes, like you don't have to commit. Like if he is from here, you have to commit. You have to like keep meeting and everything.
Oh.
Then I'm like, okay. I struggle to find the values in it or the
Yeah.
good thing in it. I'm like, okay, how is it good? Oh, so then she doesn't have to think about her problem. Okay, but isn't that an escape? So I'm like, okay, I struggle.
But wait, what do you mean
I
by-
was in the middle of it. I'm like, I don't know how to react and respond.
No, but what do you mean by the guy who is saying good morning? Why the other guy won't say good morning? Like,
I don't know.
What does it mean?
I don't know. At least there's someone
but
who said
then
good morning
it
to
went
you.
it went on to, like, if I'm hearing this correctly, like no strings attached
Yeah.
kind of situation.
Yeah.
So hop on the dating app.
Yeah.
This
I
is
mean,
basically
I see-
Tinder. Oh my gosh.
Right. I see a few like red alert there. Like one is you are actually trying to advise an escape for this person. Like just so you don't think about your problem.
Right.
I think escape is not a good advice
Yes,
to me.
yes, for sure.
Second is you are advising a non-committed relationship. I mean, maybe it will make you feel better at that point of time, but I
Right.
think it will impose a problem in the future.
For
Don't you
sure.
think?
You're running away. You're definitely running away from the main issue. I mean, if you want to just rewind back a little, I mean, why do you experience or go through a divorce in the first place?
Yeah.
You know, what happened? I think it's good to see somebody, a therapist, or a counselor.
I mean, to go
figure
through it,
out,
to
you know?
heal,
Yeah.
right? To go through the healing process.
Man. So who is this friend, babe? Nah, just
I don't
kidding.
know.
I'm just
No
kidding.
names.
For me, I've got a lot of bad dating advice.
Yeah.
And again, I think, firstly, I have to say that these people are not bad people.
Yeah.
I think they
Have good intention.
good
right?
intention. They meant good, but the advice or the solution to help me is really not a good one. And because as you dive deeper into it, you're not helping a young person or someone who wants to date to see the future, to see the possibility in it. So, like
What
for
was
me,
that?
I've got a few. One is only date when you make money.
Oh.
only start dating when you make money.
Okay.
Now, logically, of course, it makes sense. If I've got no money,
How are you
can
gonna
I
bring your girlfriend
you out
for a
For a
date?
date, right? But I know, please bear with me, right? Like, babe, like follow my train of thoughts. Like, I've been to trips to help out, and like in a church scene, we call it mission trips, and we travel to different places, maybe the interior parts of Malaysia, and you see people in the kampong scene, right? They are dating, they don't have money, and they have very healthy values. When you talk to them, they're thinking about, oh, I need to go and work hard so that this girl that I'm dating, I am able to provide for her. Like, I think that's a very good thought process. Coming back to the city, it's like, no. You only must, so this is extreme. You only must make sure you have money first. You must have a car first. You must have a house first. Then you start dating.
Yeah.
I'm like, jialat lah, right? Jialat is Hokkien for like, oh my gosh. Like, only when you start making money, when you have all these criteria, what happens if you are in that process?
Yeah.
And I think for the both of us, we are firm believers of building something together. I think when you meet each other at campus, you learn how to share your resources. Hey, babe, this is my monthly allowance. And oh, babe, this is my monthly allowance. Okay. Like, maybe we can save up for special occasion. We can, maybe go on dates. But then the rest of it is like, hey, let's learn how to spend time with one another without breaking bank, without like putting a hole in our pockets.
Yeah.
I think it's like so important than to just give this broad, vague advice. Only date when you have money.
Yeah, we were like that, right? We dated. I mean, like, I don't have that kind of values that I have to make sure that my boyfriend have money, then only
Thank
I will
you, babe.
date. I will date him. I'm not that kind, okay?
Yeah.
But I saw. I mean, like, I think there's a pro and cons, don't you think?
No,
Like,
I mean,
we have this. But
Again,
then,
this is in its
but
extreme.
I think in every relationship there'll always be a challenge, right? But the challenge is good. It's
Yeah.
also an opportunity for us to discover together, to overcome together,
Yeah.
right? And we overcome it together. We learn about each other better, right? Like,
Yeah.
so for us, the struggle is always like when there's an anniversary, right?
Yeah.
And then at that point of time, we don't have money,
Yes.
Like, then we see our friends going anniversary, eating nice
Yeah.
food in, like a very prestigious restaurant or what. But we
Yeah.
can't do that. And I think we have to overcome the wants and the desire, right? Then we
Yeah.
have to discuss what do we want in a relationship. I think, like, nothing wrong with having that kind of principle.
Yeah.
Like, I need to have money first, then only I will date someone.
Yeah, for sure,
I mean,
for
go
sure.
ahead. But I think in every relationship, there always be a challenges.
Yeah.
Maybe your challenges is different from ours,
Yeah.
right? Like, yes, you might have the money already.
This perspective is really more of a warning. Like, this shouldn't be the only principle. Now, again,
Yes.
I want to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
It's not like me saying this. That means if you have no money, go on a date, and maybe, just maybe, let's give a scenario, right? Maybe you have debts.
Yeah.
Maybe you have bad financial management. And you are dating out of your ego. This is where I'm coming in from, right? You're dating out of your ego. You're dating out of having this very wrong mindset that I must be the guy. I must be able to want to pay for everything. A very, very unhealthy, or I would even say borderline toxic
I think if it's
masculinity.
personal values that you
Yeah.
carry and you really believe, I think it's fine. But what we are discussing right now is worse dating advice. At the
Yes.
moment you are imposing it to other people.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if you know that nowadays everyone can be influencer, right? We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have
Yeah,
all those
yeah,
things.
yeah.
And then you started to put your personal values out there, and then you're imposing it to others without knowing the context of your life, of your relationship,
Yeah.
of your background. I think that is where it becomes the worst dating advice.
Yes.
Because I think a good dating advice is really have to take a look. What's the context? What's the
Yeah,
background? What's
yeah.
the personal struggle? Right. So I think nowadays the struggle is always social media.
Yeah.
Don't you think, like, like if he
Going back to the
don't-
point of like imposing your idea on others.
Right,
Like if you don't do this, then
if
you
he
are
really loves
wrong.
you, then he
Yeah.
will change for you.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
That's a really bad dating advice.
If he really love you, then he will, like
Yeah.
in the past, I keep telling my friends that I don't like smoker.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't date a smoker. Then I have that distorted mind, like, oh, if this person really love me, this person will stop smoking. I'm like, okay, it never happened, okay? It never
Yeah.
happened.
So yeah, right. That's like a really, really distorted view
I mean, what
of
else do you
how
see
it's
in
like.
social media? Like,
Yeah.
never, always let him pay on the first date.
Yeah. I mean, okay, that
Or
that
don't
is
reply after, before 3 days.
3 days. Yeah, right. Like I mean,
Like,
like for example, let's take the first date one, right? I think I would argue with that fact. I think that as a guy, it's a first date. Come on, you know what I mean? Just get a check. I think that's a very gentlemanly thing to do. But again, the context. But what if two people are learning to fall in love and they really don't have a lot? Let's say you're students and you really don't have a lot, and you really want to go on a date. I think it would be disastrous if you make that idea part of your ideology and it influences everything you do. So what happens is that you never even go on a date with that person. And maybe if you went on a date with that person, it could have been a very beautiful date, because it goes back to the basic, right? What constitutes a date? Conversations, spending time together, making memories.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes the world or social media paints this way of dating as like, if you get caught up in the wrong algorithm, then it will be like vroom vroom, Ferrari fetching you, like
The flower,
like what you said,
bouquet of flower.
prestigious restaurant. Like again, nothing wrong with that if you have the capacity to just lavishly spend on your loved one. Go ahead, but that shouldn't be the main mindset, because I feel like a lot of people could have been in a relationship, could have sparked something beautiful if only they just let this weight off. Only date when you have money. Only date when you have money. And then, they met someone that is really good values, met someone with, a really good thought process, someone mature. But because I don't have money, then I never get into a dating.
Yeah, but don't you think it's quite like contradicting to like nowadays, right? The concept of equality, gender equality is like so big out there. I think like this, like first date have to let the guy pay. It could be
disastrous.
It could cause like a
Girls,
frustration.
what do you think?
On your first date, like, no, I'm making money too, like the concept of equally giving, in the relationship, like I want to give too, I want to contribute too. Yeah, so I think it's quite contradicting with nowadays, the values of the young people.
So there are a couple of levels here. First is you just go on a dinner date with someone. And then another layer would be now that you are in a date, like you are dating this person, like, right, you are in a relationship with this person. And of course, another layer would be like maybe the different seasons of your life. Maybe the woman earns more than the guy, or the guy earns more with the woman. So there are a couple of layers here.
Yeah.
But I think the area that we want to focus on is like this first layer. When you want to start dating someone, and because for me, this was my experience, like only date someone when you have money. And I'm like, babe, if I carried that mentality strongly, I don't think we'd be sitting here together, babe, today.
Yeah.
It's a very
The thing about it,
dangerous ideology.
I received a bad dating advice before. And before I met you, I think it was back home still. And, I always attracted to someone who, because I'm a Christian, so... I have this like a young Christian girl mentality. Like I want someone who play music, right?
Okay.
I want someone who is in church, serve and all. So there was this guy that came along. Not you, your case in the past.
Sure, babe. Yeah.
I think he's quite like okay. I like his values and everything. And then a friend of mine was like, no, cut it off now. I was like, why? He's riding a motorbike. I'm like, oh gosh.
Oh man.
And then he's riding a motorbike. You know, he doesn't have a car.
I'm in a dilemma because I
then
want to
he was
thank your
like-
friend.
he's like, but it's Jakarta, you know, is very polluted and everything. You don't care about your. I'm like, okay, but because I was young, I'm like, okay, then maybe that's the right one. See, that's the thing, like. When you impose your own personal values on someone else,
Yeah.
but you're not knowing what's really in your heart is.
Oh,
last
man.
time. I mean, like as a young person, like
Yes,
I was
yes.
young, so I always thought that okay, maybe that's the right one, and then you never know, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then should thank my friend because if
Thank you,
not,
friend.
I wouldn't meet you.
So that I met Caroline. Another bad dating advice is date someone in your range or level.
What does it mean?
So basically, it's like, oh, Caroline's a 10. I'm a 6.
Oh, wait, it's like that movie. Wait,
she's out of my
she's
league.
out of my league,
Right?
yeah.
So only date someone within your range. Don't be too ambitious. Shut up. Like,
You
you know?
It just reminded me of that movie, like how the guy was very conscious and very
Yeah.
insecure because of that. Like,
Caroline is quoting this movie called She's Out of My League.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, actually. I love the value in that movie because this guy, he dated someone who is really pretty and really beautiful,
Yeah.
but he keep looking for her flaws. He keep looking because she has a pretty face,
Yeah.
she has a nice figure, and then I
Yeah.
think there was an intimate scene, and then she's like, "Oh, you have ugly toes," and she got taken aback, like, "So you are trying to find something wrong with me?" Like, and I think this
like
is the
to
reason.
make sure that you are at the same level.
Yeah, like, okay, let's balance something out. Like, you cannot be too perfect. Like, I think that's a very selfish mentality. You are basically pulling someone down to your level. You know, instead of like recognizing that person, if you want to talk about levels, is that person mature? Does that person have a good character? Instead of just this outward appearance or maybe status. How much they bank.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, I think that's a very, very wrong
Yeah.
mentality to carry. Hey, go up to that person, talk to that person, be a gentleman. Like, from a guy perspective, like, hey, hi, nice to meet you. You know, my name is so and so. You know, get to know that person. Because at the end of the day, I would really want a relationship to flourish out of character, knowing that person's value. Maybe that guy don't have a lot in his bank right
Yeah.
now, but he is a very ambitious person, and he's going to make it big in the future.
Yeah.
But if we carry this mentality, you're not at my level yet.
Yeah.
Our bank is not the same. And if that is your only, now the dangerous thing is this, only, like, you know, a benchmark to get into a relationship, man, you are signing up for trouble. You know, and then what happens if you meet someone on your level, but characters suck?
Yeah.
Values are so different.
Yeah.
Which we encounter people like that, right? Oh yeah, I met this guy. My parents introduced. Da, 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 da. Then you hear this like tale as old as time, where it's like actually they have someone, they used to date someone that was really nice and all, but because
They're not from the same level.
and then they break up, which really breaks my heart as well.
But the point is, I think we are going to face a lot of dating advices, you know, good or bad, like passed down from your family, you know, all
Yeah.
those values, or even social medias.
Yeah.
I think the best way for us to navigate this, you know, like what do you choose for your life and your partner and everything else is really to know your own value first, to get to
Yes.
know who you are
So
and
true,
your
babe.
own value and your background, you know. Because if you keep talking like I have to date someone with the same level, or my family told me that, you know. But then you have another aspiration.
Yeah.
I think it reminds me also of another movie. Man, it just reminds me of a lot of movies.
Yes, babe.
Is it The Vow? Was it the wife?
What
She's
happened?
an artist. Where she's from a very rich family.
Okay.
And then then they got married without the blessing of the wife parents.
Okay.
And then they got in an accident.
Oh,
Then the wife
Channing
lost.
Tatum and
Yes.
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah,
Yes.
then she lost her memory. Right.
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
like,
and then he has to. Oh, but that is a nice movie. He had to like
yeah.
like fall in love, like
to get her back, like to
all these
to
would
make her,
tackle her.
yeah, to make her fall in love with him again.
Yeah.
But the only way for him to make her fall in love with him again and to help her to realize her
Values.
her values and her love for arts at that point of time, which the parents not really keen for her to go to that
that's
direction.
right. That's right.
Yeah. So like I mean like you get to know who you are.
Yeah.
What really is your passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think
And for me, right, I mean, you and I, we always tell ourselves to assume the best.
yeah.
And if we come with this perspective of assuming the best, I believe that these people, family members, friends who gave us this advice, I really believe they meant good.
They definitely. I mean,
Me-
I know my friends love
You know,
me.
yeah.
You know, like she was like, I go facial with you. I go and do nails with you, and then you wanna go around the town, like this polluted town in a
Yeah.
motorbike. Like I know she meant good. I know
Yeah.
she loved me.
Yeah, yeah.
But then again, like until now, my heart is always like I'm a Christian and I love doing I love doing church.
Yeah.
And I love being in church and I love being like doing this full-time ministry and all. And then I really met someone like you.
Sup, girl?
You see? Like can you imagine like when I met you, then I'm still in town around and my friend will give the same advice.
Yeah, because I don't know who's that friend, but it's very hard to be your friend. But yeah, it's pretty crazy because when we met each other, I don't have a lot, babe.
Yeah, I remember.
And I
The kanchil.
I have my kanchil, my faithful little kanchil. I still have that kanchil. But what I liked about us is we didn't go through that route of what is your possession, what is my possession. No, I fell in love because you were a very kind person, and I'm sure you fell in love with me for all the various reasons that are good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was never like, oh, I gotta make sure that I have a lot of money. But I like our conversations. Our conversations were always like, hey babe, one day in the future, let's do this together.
Yeah.
Hey babe, let's save up money, let's do this together. And that's why like in our previous episodes, we talk about like values and all of that, like how I was a bit upset when I was trying my best to make that money to buy you that phone, but you kind of shortcut and got your dad to buy it for you, which again is nothing wrong, right? Your dad wants to bless you. I want to bless Ayla as well. But I think understanding the context of the person, the season you're in, the last thing that you want to ruin in a potential relationship is all this like bad dating advice.
Yeah.
Like I mean your friend could mean good, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that you countered it with like, actually, what am I looking for?
Yeah.
Which I think it goes back to the heart. Like, what am I looking for? And which is the essence of this particular episode.
Yeah.
You don't want to just date someone and then get into this toxic mess because of people's expectation. And then you know who you're gonna blame? Yeah, Caroline. It's Caroline's fault because Caroline is the one that told me that I'm gonna date someone like that. Like, there's no, you abdicate responsibility. Another bad dating advice for me, I feel, is only start dating when you are working. That means when you start working, that's the right time to date. Babe, how many people we have met who are now in their 30s struggle
To find
the right one.
Yes.
A
lot.
And for me and Caroline, I think the best time to actually fall in love, to meet someone, is actually campus season.
Yeah.
Where you are still young, very little commitments in life, and you can actually implement. You don't have to compromise a lot of things yet. You can implement a lot of values together, And of course, it will be sad if it doesn't work out after campus for various reasons, right? But if it does work out, it's going to be very beautiful because now you have built a very strong, healthy foundation with each other. Because like these 30-year-olds that we meet, right, babe? What are some of the problems they face?
They're settled.
Right.
And they already have a goal, a personal goal of what they want. So they have a lot of lists to fulfill.
Yeah.
A lot of lists have to be like this, have to be like this, have to be like that.
Going back to the goal. Sorry, but going back to the goal, right? The crazy thing is, I want you to be in my goal. Like you must be in my goal
Yeah.
list, like part of my goal. If
And
you're
I think
not,
when we are older, it's very hard for us to, to pivot. Is that correct?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just very hard because we already set. We already like maybe halfway there, and then you have to readjust where
Yes.
you are going when you are meeting another person.
Yeah.
Like it's just harder.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple really lucky ones
Actually,
out
why
there.
we have like this dating advice? Maybe from older generation, is it? They always think that, oh, because when you date, when you're still studying, you're going to be distracted and
You
all those
see,
things.
I feel right, babe, and I want to be very careful here because sometimes some elder people would give us this advices. And personally for me, I feel it's because maybe they felt like they live a life of regret. They felt like they have made a mistake.
Okay.
Like, I know of uncles and aunties who are like, Ayo, if I could turn back time, I wish I didn't get married younger when I was younger or too young. What is that message? What are you sending through that message?
I see.
You know? And this is the essence of this podcast today because I don't want people to, God created relationships. God created for man and woman to be together, to enjoy one another, to build the world together. I think it'd be just so sad if we just... Now, here's the reality for these uncles and aunties. Maybe, yeah, they were young. It was an arranged marriage. Maybe it was situationship. They had no one else, and then they marry each other. Then maybe the auntie or uncle realized, hey, actually, you're not the one that I want. And maybe the uncle and auntie, they are struggling with their own perspectives, ideologies, and now they're force feeding it to their kids. They're force feeding, like you said just now, right? Like how the worst thing you can do is force this or implement this on other people, your thoughts. And I think this is what's happening with some of these young people. And they grow up with this perspective. And at the end of the day, you wonder why you're single.
Yeah.
You wonder why you cannot find the right one. When actually maybe the right one is already there. But I like this saying from the book of Proverbs, as iron sharpens iron. Yeah, maybe I am a really shiny sword, right? But babe, you make me sharper. You make me shinier.
Yeah.
If I may put it in that context. So I think really we have to be mindful, aware, and really understand what that conversation entails. Like again, we are not going against people who are like giving us advice, because the last thing I want is, hey, Pastor DK and Caroline talk about it on their podcast that we ought to have this right mentality, and I'm going to date someone if I don't have money. I also want to be very careful because what if this person, your good friend, is calling you out? You have debts, you are in trouble, financial trouble, and and you are really not ready for a relationship. So again, we want to be very careful, but we also want to address, if I may say, the elephant in the room, that sometimes these are some of the perspectives that are not brought out to attention. It's just there, and like today we want to talk about it, So this
it's
is pretty
best
crazy.
to assess the situation. Like when it comes to dating advices, nowadays it's going to be everywhere. It will come from your family, it will come from your friends, it will come from social media. But I think how to deal with it better is when you assessing your life. You assess, like what you say, am I in debt? Am I like right now I'm like really occupied with like very big commitment in my life? Am I ready for it? I mean, like, filter all those advices. Assess your situation. Even filter what we advise you. I would say that because we have our own
Again,
experience.
what we are presenting today is really just to we want you to be woke. We just want you to be aware. Again, the last thing we want this episode to do is to implement our thoughts and ideas. Now, to our listeners here, we are not implementing our thoughts and our ideas here, but we are just presenting some of the really bad dating advices that we have here, and we have seen a couple of broken relationships because of this wrong mentality. we please be open, be aware. Another scenario, babe. I know of someone whose parents were not feeling well, and I remember he's really filial. He really take care of his family, and he met this girl. And I'll tell you, this girl that he met is an amazing girl. This girl really, was keen to help him out, and this girl actually fell in love with him because of his nature of taking care of his parents and being there for them. And so and having this conversation with her, she was like, such an amazing character, But this guy had this idea that until my parents get better, then I'll start dating. Which was a very dangerous thought for him. Now again, the context is for him, his journey. Firstly, his parents were like, I think one had Alzheimer's, another was like, I guess kidney failure and stuff like that. So required really a lot of help. And this girl was willing, to spend time with him, but I felt like this guy was dealing with a lot of issues deep inside. And for this guy, he felt that until he settled his parents, which I remember this conversation I had with him, to the extent where if the parents are not around anymore, then maybe he start thinking about it. Which I threw him back this question. I said, what if your parents still survive for another 10 years? Like, I know now it looks critical, but what if they survive for the next 10 years? And for the next 10 years,
you're going to
be like, almost touching 40. And then you're going to be like, then when you start dating, find someone. Now, of course, in this world that we live in here today, it's arguable, right? They will say things like, it's not about the age, you'll find someone at the right time. For sure. I don't disagree with that. Again, I'm asking us to really check our heart, check these thoughts that we have. What is it fueled by? Is it our own perspective, our own hurt? And just like this friend of mine, this girl was an amazing girl, babe. Amazing girl. Really adored him. But sadly, they just couldn't work out.
Oh dear.
Because of his perspective. So I think really this episode is not to implement and force feed you like some of the things we talk about here today. No, because again, if you are living in a shed, you are not taking care of your hygiene and all of that. Sorry, that's another conversation, right? But if you're doing well and you are healthy, hey, have some right perspectives.
Yeah.
You can really build your future together with someone. And I'm glad that I can build my future with you, babe. From nothing. Today we have 2 beautiful kids.
Yeah.
We have an amazing community that we have started called Soul. We are doing this podcast together.
Yeah.
And for me, one of the privileges that I'm glad that we can do together is to be in this space where we can meet many couples, many young people, and advise them and encourage them. So if you are struggling with whatever we're talking about today, know that you're not alone, right? Because I think it's so important, babe, that context is very important.
Yeah.
Whatever we talk about is not a blanket statement. Some of you, maybe you're going through this and it's a peculiar situation.
Yeah.
DM me at Caroline and we will love to communicate with you. Well, anything else you want to add on, babe?
No.
That's all for this episode. We'll see you for the next one.
Bye.